Thank you. Right, I'm going to tell you a story about a partnership, a challenging partnership. First of all, I'll just give you a little bit of an explanation of the land in question. We recently were given a piece of land on the Wigan-Salford border. It doesn't look very exciting. It's a former open cast mine that was basically over-farmed. The first time I actually went to Cutacre, which is the land in question, I stood on a hill and tried to take pictures. I could see overgrazed land. I could see badly maintained fences. Anyway, one of the extras from Deliverance wandered past and shouted up to me, "Hey up, lad, why are you standing on a hill full of cow shit?" I didn't know it was a hill full of cow shit. So anyway, the next time I went to Cutacre, things had improved. We'd actually had a year working there to try and find out what was on there. And despite the fact it is quite it was a rough old area of agricultural land, there were some amazing things there. We had lapwings, we had brown hares, and there were a number of ponds which had 5 amphibians. So all 3 kinds of newt, frogs and toads. Now, as I say, what we were doing with this land, we were basically going to renovate, restore most of it, but we were keeping one part of it for the guy who'd actually been grazing his horses on there and trying to work with him to make him be a little bit more wildlife friendly. So while horses were actually grazing on the land, in other areas we'd have conservation grazing cattle actually working there. So to actually get more and more of the wildlife we want in there. Now, there was an area of land, or there is an area of land up near the railway line, which is in a particularly bad state. And we found ourselves in a situation where we were offered by a solar energy company called Solstice Renewables. They offered to actually put a solar farm on there. The main driver behind this would be the fact that we were going to get something in the region of £25,000 a year for 25 years, which would cover the whole of restoration of this property and other properties in the Wigan-Salford area. So it was a difficult one, and the conversations went on and on and on. During all the time, I was telling the management team, we definitely need a communications plan for this because some of the members won't be happy. We definitely need a communications plan. It was all agreed. The planning application was prepared, and the senior managers went on holiday and told me, nothing's going to happen for 6 weeks. We'll have a meeting. We'll have a meeting when we get back. 2 days later, I'm just going through some of the things there. 2 days later, Solstice got in touch and told us they were going to leaflet the area tomorrow morning. We basically put a stop on this straight away and told them, no, not tomorrow. So they gave us 24 hours to actually put together a communications plan which was meant to placate all our members and try and... I mean, to be honest, I'll be completely honest, I wasn't comfortable with the whole idea anyway to start off with. So we hadn't actually had a meeting. So by 12 o'clock the next day, we'd created a press release. We'd spoken to local radio, TV. The radio had agreed to come down the following morning. We'd contact all of our members within 5k of the site, either by email or by phoning them up if they weren't on email. We spoke to the council, we identified some of the local councillors who might have a problem, and we agreed to attend a public meeting. So it was a real whistle-stop thing. Now, obviously, we'd also got stuff on social media, although we were careful not to put too much on, but we got something on the website. So the next day, this appeared in the Wigan Evening Post. Manchester Evening News carried the story. It was on Radio Manchester and a North West Tonight as well. So we'd actually somehow managed to stop the solar energy company going out, basically saying, we're going to create this solar farm and the Wildlife Trust agree with us. We'd actually got it and managed to turn it round into a positive story. Very, very positive. Nobody came back at all. although the newspaper did try and make it into a controversy. Even though it was a very, very positive story, it was nature controversy. And so anybody turning to that page would suddenly realise that it was completely a different thing altogether. Later on, obviously I've got it into county magazines and Lapwing, which I was going to say you can get copies at the back, but they've all vanished, so I presume people like pictures of seals. But there's one extra there, but there's a little bit more about it in there. Now, at the moment, we're waiting because the planning application's gone in. So we have been searching for positives, apart from the fact that obviously it's going to pay for a restoration for many, many years to come. One of the things that turned up at a meeting I had with Natural England was they're actually creating a report into solar farms and how wildlife actually deal with that. Now, I've cunningly photoshopped a picture of a brown hare underneath here, but because apparently brown hares are using solar panels as hedgerows. So we aren't just creating a solar farm, we're actually creating hedgerows where they're missing. As I say, this is a piece of land which can't be seen. So far, because of this publicity drive, and this story will go out if we get any bad publicity, but because of this publicity drive, we've basically managed to have, I think it's 3 complaints so far about the site. No objections to the planning application yet, but we've managed to kind of curtail things and head people off at the pass. Obviously, we're going to have some beautiful birds and animals there, and we're going to create well-flow meadows in amongst the solar farms as well. But again, it just shows we do work in partnership with people. We do work in partnership with people we probably wouldn't have worked with before. But you've got to be so careful that we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. We've got to be careful that people aren't jumping to conclusions and doing things which we're not ready for. Fortunately, we've got a great communications team at Lancashire, and we've got great communications teams across the Wildlife Trust, and obviously across most of the organisations here. But we don't ever want to be left in a situation like this again, if possible. And these are just pictures of some of the work we've done on the reserve now. Thank you.
Great.